Magnum PI's red Ferrari on display. Several vehicles will take you back to the future. We can take you back to the Stone Age. We have vehicles on display from our movie The Flintstones with John Goodman and the late great Elizabeth Taylor. Make sure you get photos of the Fast and the Furious film franchise picture cars. Do not miss a photo of the Gyrosphere. It's from a couple of our worldwide blockbuster hits, Jurassic World and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, both starring Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. Usually the picture car would have an engine in it because the vehicle is going to be driven. Once in a while, though, you have an engineless picture car so that the shell of the vehicle can be lifted up and moved easily from set to set. For example, you might have an engineless picture car sitting against a curb on a road. As we make our way down this particular road, in a moment we're going to cross under the gates of InGen Technology. I know that you know what that means.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Many of the vehicles and set pieces around us used in Steven Spielberg's Jurassic Park films. Remember, dinosaurs are extinct. We don't need to worry anymore about dinosaurs. Let me check the road out up ahead of us. Not bad, a little bit of fog in the area, but otherwise looking good. Say, you're going to recognize the mobile lab on the left-hand side from our movie The Lost World Jurassic Park, starring Julianne Moore. I would say it's a nice, quiet afternoon here in the Jungle Islands of Costa Rica. Oh yes, it is. Surprise! Notice how dense it is with the trees and bushes. Look on the left. Never know what might fall out of a tree or pop out of a bush. But don't worry, on our background, we are able to travel great distances in a short amount of time. We're headed to Old Mexico. Please remain seated as we make our turn. Thank you for doing that. Old Mexico, where scenes for the movie Three Amigos film, starring Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, and Martin Short. As we turn, notice on the left-hand side how the terrain has changed from the Jungle Islands to more of a desert region with the cacti. On the Today Show this morning, the weather forecast for Mexico, partly cloudy and cool. I think they got that forecast correct. But the weather can change rapidly. Oh yes, our weather can change just like that. So be prepared for anything while we are here on the back lot. Right now, let's enjoy some of the partly cloudy and cool weather here, and thunderous weather here in Old Mexico. You hear that thunder? I see lightning flashing also. We have a big storm rolling in. Well, we know we have thunder.
I love this
We have
part.
lightning. Now we know that we even have heavy rain. Look at the rain coming. Oh, lightning just knocked out the screens. Well, let's watch the rain come down. It is coming down. Pretty heavy, pretty steady, but I think the rain is manageable. We are going to be just fine. Maybe not. I just heard a low rumbling sound. That would indicate a flash flood headed straight for the tramp. Well, take cover, folks. Here it comes. Left-hand side. Flash flood. Our flood is a special effect. The recycled water makes its way downhill and then makes its way up again. The rain created by sprinkler system, we shoot the water straight up and it falls back down naturally. just like Mother Nature's rain. We're going to be swept out of Old Mexico. But before we leave Old Mexico, look at the section we're in now. You might recognize this part of Old Mexico from the movie Nacho Libre, starring Jack Black. Some of that movie filmed right here. And our tour now approximately at the halfway mark. Just want to remind everyone, please remain seated during the entire tour. Studio is private property, and if at any time during the tour you drop your phone or you just cannot wait to use the restroom, pull the red cord to get my attention. I will be back to assist you, but do remain seated on the tram. Thank you so much for doing that. If the need arises, oh, look at this. We got swept out of Old Mexico into the Old West. Welcome to 6 Points, Texas, one of our great Western areas. All the great Western stars like Audie Murphy, Jimmy Stewart, John Wayne have moseyed up and down these streets. On your screens, a scene from a production that filmed here. A couple of gunslingers about ready to have a showdown.
This town ain't big enough for the both of us, Jimmy Fallon.
Well, I ain't going anywhere, Jimmy Fallon.
Now look here. Not folks in this town don't want no trouble. They just want to check out 6 Points, one of the oldest sets on the Universal lot.
I hear this where John Wayne and Jimmy Stewart shot a few of their westerns.
That's right. That's where I aim to shoot you.
Just put dirt over the cement. Get the horses out, put the wagon wheels and barrels on the street. You're back in the days of the wild, wild west. We're going to leave 6 Points, make a turn. When we turn on your left, the 4 newest sound stages on the studio property, left side. Some of those stages used to film scenes for the upcoming Jordan Peele film, Us, opening March 22nd. It's getting a lot of buzz. On the left, beautiful lake area that could be used for production. We'll sail over the lake, swing by Little Europe, where the students of the New York Film Academy are working today. Little Europe, where we filmed the monster movies, like Frankenstein with Boris Karloff. Now, in a moment, when we turn, on your left, the buildings of Little Europe. Keep looking to your left as we complete the turn. You'll see the base camp and the modern day house set for the Hallmark Channel show Home and Family, which normally shoots here Monday through Friday, so filming today. The house is a practical set. It's also a hot set, fully dressed, ready for filming. We are now entering Soundstage 50, where we have a hot set, a Northern California subway station set. Please remain seated at all times.
Semua buit.
Soundstage
Normal.
50, so that nothing on the hot set is disturbed. Thank you so much for doing that. Notice the attention to detail that has been put in the set. Over on the right, is that the Don't worry about it. This could be the big one. I could use a drink of water. Oh no, that's too much water on the right. Way too much. a simulated 8.3 earthquake. The event teams did readings at Beverly Hills Cup 3, starring Eddie Murphy, and TV shows like Bones, starring David Boreanaz. On your screens, footage from a past episode of Bones. They used the earthquake effect. We were just in Northern California, that subway station. We're going to say farewell to the west, head out east, swing by Amity Island, small New England town terrorized by the shark in Steven Spielberg's movie Jaws. Okay, folks, look to the right. You're going to get a really behind-the-scenes look at Amity Island. The shark is getting a facelift. Sometimes that happens in Hollywood. You also might recognize the area on the right as Cabot Cove, Maine, from Angela Lansbury's hit show, Murder, She Wrote. Cabot Cove, Amity Island, are right next to an average suburban neighborhood. On the left, down below, a neighborhood, the houses are practical sets. We have another great example of a practical set on the right, also a house. Here are some of the productions that filmed at the house on the right-hand side. And you're going to recognize a lot of these clips. Take a look at this. Oh. Wisteria Lane, Desperate Housewives. Here's some more. Now, on the back lot, we work with 3 different kinds of structures. There are the facades, which would be the front and side of the home. We saw a lot of those in the metro set area, but there's nothing inside or on the back. It's a facade. Now, the other type of structure is a practical set. There are kind of 2 versions of a practical set. There could be a shell, which would be the 4 walls and the roof of the building, but there's really nothing inside. It's just like an empty room inside the structure shell. And then you have the practical sets built so you can film indoors, outdoors. Over here on the right, this house is a practical set where you film indoors and outdoors. If you look up on your screens, we'll give you a look at some of those structures that we've been seeing around us. 2 kinds of structures on the back lot. Basically, it's the facade and the practical sets. Facade, if you didn't know, is a French word meaning literally false front. And these sets are only used for exterior outdoor scenes. Other sets are practical and be used for exterior, outside, or more importantly, interior, inside scenes. And we've shown you examples of all those types of structures so far here on the studio tour. Now we do have a tram that's just ahead of us here. They're stalled for some reason, so thank you for your patience while we wait for that tram. They are a tram that's turned onto Colonial Street, which we have known as Wisteria Lane on ABC's Desperate Housewives.
If there is one thing everyone in suburbia can appreciate, it's...
Now, there is a new NBC show that's going to premiere this spring. It's called Abby's, starring Natalie Morales and Neil Flynn. Abby's has used our Colonial Street very extensively. On this street, it's like a cul-de-sac. So you drive up one end, and then you do a loop, and you come down the other end. At the other end of the street, there's a house that was the set for the upcoming show Abby's. Some of the scenes that were filmed for Abby's filmed in the backyard using a live studio audience. That's kind of a unique thing to do for a show. This show is about a former military gal who has a bar set up in her backyard. Street, Wisteria Lane. Here's where everybody lived, the Desperate Housewives. Second home on your left, the beige home with the big porch. That's where Gabrielle, played by Eva Longoria, resided on Desperate Housewives. Now, keep looking on the left. Susan, played by Terry Hatcher, lived in the gold home on the left. But when they filmed here, Susan's house was yellow. Living next door to Susan, Lynette, played by Emmy winner Felicity Huffman. So I earlier mentioned this fourth Desperate Housewife, Bree, played by Marcia Cross. Well, after we turn, I'll point out Bree's home. It'll be on your left. After we turn, it's a blue-gray home with a chimney. But for now, look to the right. The very last home on the cul-de-sac where Edie, played by Nicolette Sheridan, lived. But this last home here on the cul-de-sac, the set for the upcoming NBC show Abby's. Again, scheduled to premiere this spring on NBC. All right, you see how we're looping around the cul-de-sac? So look back to your left-hand side. Left-hand side, you see the light blue home. On the other side of that, the A-frame house. On the other side of the A-frame, the blue-gray home with a chimney. This is where Bree lived. A lot of great TV shows that filmed on Colonial Street. Remember the Munsters from the 1960s with Fred Gwynne? Look over here on the right. See the home with the white pillars? That was the home of the Munsters. The house looks a little different now, but for the most part, these homes are designed to fit the look of an average suburban neighborhood. Hey, look over here on the left, on the other side of the last house, left-hand side. Look at the car, a 1970 Charger. That car is Dominic Toretto's from Fast and Furious. He must be in the neighborhood. Now, we were just in an average suburban neighborhood, but we've left civilization behind us. We are currently on Wilderness Road. This is a very remote location. Look over on the left. That is an area where some of the movie Bird Box, the Netflix film with Sandra Bullock filmed. And many, many years ago, we did some terrific TV westerns like Wagon Train. Wagon Train filmed here in this part of our backlot. If we were filming an episode of Wagon Train, this road would be dirt. We would be on the Wagon Train, headed up to a new town. We're headed up to Whoville. We have some of the great Academy Award nominated outdoor sets used in the film, directed by Ron Howard. We want to show you. Here is Martha May, played by Christine Baranski, to tell us how she decorated her home, show us how she decorated her home for the holidays in the movie. Over on the right, the houses are facades, the front and side of the home. Nothing inside or on the back, a facade. Now, as we turn the corner from the Villa Foos, why oh why would this neighbor they choose? I'm talking about Norman Bates, owner of the Bates Motel in Alfred Hitchcock's classic thriller, Psycho. Norman lives in the house above the motel with his mother, very sweet woman. Sometimes you see mother peeking out of a second floor window in the front. Why don't we take you past the house, coming up at the top of the hill on the left side. Oh, guess what? Guess what? Norman Bates is home. He's on the porch. Oh, but Norman looks very upset. Maybe he's having a bad day. Let's quietly go around the corner, leave Norman alone. That would be best to do. Oh, that was a close one. This dramatic music brings us very close to the airplane crash site set from Steven Spielberg's blockbuster movie. War of the Worlds.
The airplane crash site set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around a vision that Stephen had.
When you first began to sit down to talk about Glory Way, I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in a big neighborhood? Because it's just something you don't see.
On your left, that's a real airplane, but it was an old airplane, not going to be flying anymore. So the airplane was broken into pieces to make you think it had crashed. It's all pretend, just for the movie.
Get in.
We are approximately 10 minutes from the end of the tour, and we'll be returning to the theme park shortly. Remember to pull the emergency cord if you need assistance and remain seated at all times. It's quite a difference on the left with the crash site, and then over here on the right, we have a wonderful remote location, Falls Lake. At Falls Lake, one of the largest freestanding backdrops in all of Hollywood is located. Below the backdrop, we fill it with water. That's how we get the lake for Falls Lake. To your right, a cabin, a practical set. You might recognize